Charleston, South Carolina, March 9th, 2024. A little before 10 a.m., a man is supposed to be in a conference room right now. He's not. His attorneys are waiting on the third day of a deposition that's already dragged on for hours, and John Barnett is a no-show. This isn't like him. Barnett has been fighting this case for years. He does not skip the good part. So somebody calls for a welfare check. They find him in the parking lot of a Holiday Inn on Savannah Highway. He's in an orange Dodge Ram pickup, unresponsive, a gunshot wound near his right temple. 62 years old. He spent 32 years inside Boeing trying to make its planes safer, and his final years trying to make a permanent record of everything he saw. He was found dead on the exact morning he was supposed to keep talking. Here's the thing that turns a tragedy into a story people can't stop whispering about. Not long before he died, Barnett told a friend something, words to the effect of,
"If anything happens to me, it wasn't suicide."
Then something happened to him. We'll get to what the coroner ruled and why his family refuses to accept it. But first, you need to understand what a man risks his career, his health, and eventually his life to say out loud. This is the story of the witnesses Boeing couldn't silence and the 346 people who never got to testify at all. Rewind. John Barnett is not a rebel. That's the part everyone gets wrong. He's a company guy. 3 decades at Boeing, climbing to quality manager, which is exactly what it sounds like. His whole job is to catch the things that could kill people before the plane leaves the building. He believes in that job. That belief is the entire problem. In 2010, Boeing opens a shiny new plant in North Charleston to build the 787 Dreamliner, its next-generation wide body, far from the Union heartland of the Pacific Northwest. Barnett ends up there, and what he finds on that production line does not match the brochure. Start with the titanium slivers. When mechanics tightened certain bolts on the floorboards, the work threw off metal shavings. Barnett described them as 3-inch razor-sharp titanium slivers, and they were falling down into the space beneath the cabin floor. The space where the wiring runs. Sharp metal next to flight-critical electrical lines is how you get a short. A short is how you get a fire. The FAA later ordered Boeing to stop shipping planes with that kind of debris inside. Then the parts. There's an area in the plant for non-conforming parts, defective ones, quarantined so they can't accidentally end up on an airplane. Barnett documented that more than 400 of those parts had simply vanished from that area. Gone. A 2017 FAA review couldn't account for at least 53 of them and ordered Boeing to fix it. Boeing and Barnett would argue for years about whether the real number was 53 or 400 plus. Either way, defective parts were unaccounted for in a factory that builds passenger jets. And then the oxygen. Barnett's team pulled a batch of 300 emergency oxygen masks and tested them. 75 failed. A quarter of them didn't deliver oxygen when triggered.
We discovered that 25% of the oxygen systems don't work properly. In the event of a decompression event, 25% of them are not going to supply oxygen.
Picture that. The cabin loses pressure at altitude, the masks drop the way the safety video promised, and 1 in 4 does nothing. Boeing disputed the finding. The FAA said it couldn't substantiate it. That fight never got resolved, and Barnett carried it for the rest of his life. Here's what he did next, and it's the important part. He didn't leak it, he didn't blog it, he reported it, formally, up the chain. He filed federal whistleblower complaints. He used the system the way the system says you're supposed to, and the system chewed him up. His filings describe a campaign to sideline him, discredit him, and wear him down. Not fix the problems, fix the guy pointing at them. In 2017, after 32 years, he left. His lawyers called it constructive discharge, which is the legal term for making someone's job so miserable that quitting isn't really a choice. While Barnett was fighting over the Dreamliner, a much larger disaster was already baked into a different Boeing plane. And to understand it, you have to understand that it started as a spreadsheet decision. Airbus had a new fuel-sipping jet, the A320neo. American Airlines was interested. Boeing needed an answer fast, so instead of designing a new plane, it bolted bigger, more efficient engines onto the 737, a design older than most of the pilots flying it. Problem: the 737 sits low to the ground. The new engines were too big to fit where the old ones went, so Boeing mounted them higher and further forward. That changed how the plane flew. Under certain conditions, the nose wanted to pitch up. Boeing's fix was software, a system called MCAS, built to quietly push the nose back down so the new plane would handle like the old one, so airlines wouldn't have to pay for expensive pilot retraining. That was the whole selling point. Nothing to see here, same plane you already know, and MCAS took its orders from a single sensor. The plane had two. Boeing wired the safety system to one because its own risk analysis decided a malfunction wouldn't be catastrophic. The analysis was wrong. October 2018, Lion Air Flight 610. One sensor feeds MCAS bad data. The system decides the nose is too high. It pushes the nose down. The pilots pull it back up. It pushes down again and again. A tug of war between human hands and a computer acting on a broken input. The computer wins. Everyone on board dies. 5 months pass. Boeing keeps the planes flying. March 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302. Same jet, same system, same single failed sensor, same nightmare in the cockpit. Everyone on board dies. 2 crashes, 14 months, 346 people. The world finally grounds the 737 MAX. And Boeing's CEO at the time, Dennis Muilenburg, steps up to a microphone.
Safety is our top priority at Boeing, and we have taken steps to ensure that accidents like these never happen again.
346 families would spend the next several years testing that sentence in every room that would have them. The reckoning came slow, then all at once. In April 2024, Boeing whistleblowers testified before a Senate subcommittee. Different names, different programs, same story Barnett told years earlier. Raise a safety concern, get told to be quiet, get moved off the program, get frozen out of the meetings that mattered. An FAA expert panel had already looked at Boeing's safety culture and called it inadequate and confusing, riddled with fear of retaliation. The FAA administrator put it plainly.
Boeing must commit to real and profound improvements.
In June, CEO Dave Calhoun sat in front of that same subcommittee, families of the crash victims in the room behind him.
I want to express my condolences on behalf of all Boeing employees across the globe, both past and present, for your losses.
Condolences. The families had heard a lot of those. What they wanted was accountability, and here's where the story gets bleak. Boeing had already been charged once, back in 2021, with conspiracy to defraud the United States over the MAX. It paid over $2.5 billion and promised to reform. By 2024, the Justice Department decided Boeing had broken that promise. So Boeing agreed to plead guilty to a single felony count. The headline number sounded big, a statutory maximum of $487 million. The actual new fine, after credit for money already paid, was about $244 million for a company Boeing's size, for conduct that killed 346 people. The families called it an insult. A federal judge agreed and rejected the deal. Then, in May 2025, the Justice Department did something the families never saw coming. It moved to drop the charge entirely. In November 2025, a judge approved it. The criminal case over 346 deaths ended with no conviction, no trial, nothing. And Barnett, the Charleston County coroner, ruled his death a suicide. A hard contact wound to the right temple, gunshot residue on his hand. The police investigation reached the same conclusion. His family and his lawyers never accepted it. They pointed to the timing, the morning his deposition was supposed to resume, and to what he'd told his friend. People close to him said he hadn't seemed depressed the night before. There are details floating around that reporting can't fully pin down, and honest storytelling means saying that out loud rather than pretending the mystery is bigger than the record supports. But here's what isn't in dispute. His family sued Boeing for wrongful death, arguing the company's conduct broke him. His lawsuit quoted a threat that Boeing meant to break him. They brought in serious legal firepower, including David Boies. In September 2025, Boeing settled. The reported figure was $50,000. That's the price tag that landed on the end of a 32-year quality manager who tried to warn everyone. Here's what keeps me up about this one. The system worked exactly as designed. Not the airplanes, the accountability. Boeing was allowed to help certify its own planes through a program where its own employees signed off on the FAA's behalf. When something went catastrophically wrong, it paid a fine it could cover with couch cushions, and then even the criminal charge evaporated. The whistleblower, who used every official channel, got worn down until there was nothing left. and the number attached to his death rounds to a rich company's lunch order. We tell ourselves that if something is this dangerous, someone will stop it. Someone will speak up. The regulator will regulate. The courts will convict. Somebody, somewhere, is watching. John Barnett was the somebody. He spoke up through every proper channel there is, and he spent a decade being ground down for it. And the record he fought to make permanent settled for 50 grand. You will probably fly this year. You'll walk down a jet bridge and buckle in and glance at the emergency card without really reading it, trusting that all of it was checked by someone who cared more about your life than the schedule. Barnett was that someone. Watch what happened to him, and then ask yourself who's left doing his job now, because the planes didn't stop, and the people who could have stopped them mostly didn't.